Namaste,
Namaste,
everybody.
Om.
Om. And we are once again back with the fourth video in this Awaken to the Yoga series with me and Deepa. Thank you to all of you who have watched the first three parts, who gave us such amazing feedback, and thank you for taking time out of your busy lives and watching these videos. It really means so much to us. We have once again
Absolutely.
our amazing yoga teacher and my dear friend Deepa Bhatt with us all the way from Dubai. And welcome, Deepa, once again. It's great to have you
Thank you,
back.
Ashwini. Same here. Lovely to have you back.
So, all of you, as you all are aware, we introduced you to the yoga principles in the first video. We spoke about yamas, we spoke about niyamas, and now we come to the third limb of Maharishi Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, which is the asana or asana. And I'm sure all of you are aware of it because for us laymen, yoga class is taking an asana class. When I say that I'm going for a yoga class, I expect myself to lie on a mat and to practice the postures. And this has been throughout, this is something which we have been known. But today we are going to look at
Yeah.
asanas in a little detail. And there is an order, as you know, as they say, we begin with yamas, niyamas, and the third one is asanas. So let us know asanas a little bit more in detail. So, Deepa, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Now, I have been reading a lot about yoga since we began our journey because this topic, the more we are discussing, my interest in the topic has been increasing, and I have been reading so much. And when I look at yogis like um, Ramana Maharshi, Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj, Paramahansa Yogananda, or Swami Vivekananda, all of these great, amazing masters. I always see them being more in the meditation, dhyana, and that kind
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
pose.
yeah. The
Uh,
spiritual aspect. Yeah.
spiritual aspect, right? And we don't see them holding a tree pose or holding poses. And this made me think about asanas here. And so, please tell us what would be the logic of the asana practice and how
Yeah.
important it is for us to understand yoga from the perspective of asanas. So, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashwini. And yes, as you rightly pointed out, what is the logic behind an asana practice in the 8 limbs of yoga? Because to be honest, Maharishi Patanjali in his Yoga
Hmm.
Sutras mentioned asana apparently only 3 times. Out of the 196 sutras,
Is
there
it?
were only 3 mentions of asana. Yes.
Oh.
So it's very interesting. So the focus was more on the psychological and the spiritual aspect, and asana
Hmm.
was important to help you stay there.
Wow.
Now, but there is a reason behind it. There is a very logical reason why asanas
Okay.
are important. And let us understand it from a contemporary perspective,
Sure,
because
sure.
um, I think everyone will relate to something called the Maslow's theory of hierarchy.
Of
I think
course.
we've all studied that in
We all
college, right?
studied it, yeah.
Yeah. So that is one thing I will always remember. I've forgotten everything else, but the theory of hierarchy I always remember as okay, you fulfill your basic needs first, food, clothing, shelter. You take care of safety, security. You take care of love and belongingness, self-esteem and prestige. And when all of these aspects are taken care of, then you move on to self-actualization. You
Self-actualization.
explore your creative potential, etc. So you don't move from point A to point Z. You go
Yes.
there in a step by step way
Yes.
once certain needs, certain aspects are taken care of. And this is a very recent concept. But 2000 years ago, the ancient psychologists already knew that. They already had an understanding. So when they design, when Maharishi Patanjali, talks about Yoga Sutras and Ashtanga Yoga,
Hmm.
he understands that to expect someone to go from yama niyama directly to samadhi is impossible
Oh, yes,
because
right.
our body can either be a roadblock or it can be a friend, you know. So by including the asana practice in the 8 limbs, we are actually making the body our friend on the path to spiritual um, enlightenment or self-actualization.
So well said,
So
Deepa. I think that's such an important point, because in spirituality, it's so important to look at body as you said, as a friend rather than a roadblock. And because thank you for
exactly.
mentioning Abraham Maslow's need hierarchy theory, because about 4 or 5 years ago, I had given a talk about chakras in
Yes.
one of Mumbai's health forum, and where while talking about chakras, I did mention its connection to Maslow's need hierarchy theory, because we have chakras beginning from the root chakra, the Mooladhara, till Sahasrara, the crown. And
Yes.
each chakra takes you a notch higher,
Higher
not
up.
just in terms of the physical location, but also from a very physical plane to the spiritual plane. And as
Spiritual
you said,
plane. Yes.
even when we talk about Kundalini, the Kundalini slowly moves up from the Mooladhara to
Yes.
Sahasrara. It just can't say
Yes.
that, okay, now I'm at Mooladhara and the next moment it's going at Sahasrara. No, the entire journey of the energy,
Yes.
when we talk about
Yes.
energy as such, we begin
Yes.
from Mooladhara, and the journey goes from Mooladhara, then to Swadhisthana and to seven chakras. And when I compared
Further.
it to need hierarchy theory, I really thought that yes, when we talk about the first part, which is your safety and security, which Abraham Maslow talks about, and in Mooladhara we also talk about safety and security. So thank you for giving that
Absolutely.
connection, because even all of people who are into energy healing who are watching this will connect the eight
Yes.
limbs of Maharishi Patanjali to what we call as, when we talk about energy healing and the movement of
Energy
energy in
healing.
body.
Perfect. Absolutely, Ash. And this is all connected. It is all,
Yes,
they're not disjointed. They're actually
yes,
integrally connected with each other. And so it's a very basic, body is a very basic aspect of our being, of our
right,
survival on this
right,
planet. And
absolutely.
we need to meet the needs of the body and the
Wow.
mind before we move on to the other lofty ideals and other deeper goals of our, or deeper aspects of our existence. So in the initial stages of our practice, the asanas are very important, because there is a very beautiful saying that the body benefits from movement and the mind benefits from stillness. This is a very
Hmm.
famous saying. Body
Wow.
benefits from
Wow.
movement and mind benefits from stillness.
I'm going to
And
write
so,
it down, I think.
no, yes, please write it down. And I love this saying because all the classical hatha yogic postures were all designed with that, understanding this concept. So, you have sun salutations that are movement oriented, vinyasas. And then you have postures, asanas, where you hold it for a longer duration and you attain that stillness. So
Hmm.
the movement brings in agility, flexibility,
Wow.
strength, and the asanas also bring that, and yet they take you a little deeper. They make your mind quieter. So because we are doing so much of breath work
Yes.
while doing the asana practice, um, you realize the mind and body connection and how the
Yes.
mind starts to calm down as the breath deepens. So in a very simple way, I can just say that asana is a doorway to glimpsing that initial stillness that we hold within us. So before you
Wow.
even reach the dharana part, asana itself will give you a peek of that aspect of stillness that is there within you, if done correctly.
Yes.
So yes, so
And Deepak, this quote is so beautiful. And while talking to you, I realized that in today's world, the problems are arising because it is the body that sits in one place. There is no movement to the body. We sit on our
absolutely,
laptops, computers, work, and our mind wanders. And that is exactly what is
absolutely. Oh my
happening.
God.
But what if the body can move and the mind can be still, and we attain what we need to attain? Because I think there is a purpose to human life. The purpose is to attain the stillness of mind and the movement of the body. Both these things can actually help you peacefully go
Right.
into a state of good health, not just physical, but also mental and emotional.
Absolutely. 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 And I think a lot of people are beginning to realize, that just being a couch potato is
It's
not
not going to help
an
you.
idea. It's not going to help anymore, that You've got to introduce a certain element of stillness within the mind, and to
Right.
achieve that stillness, there are certain things that need to be done. And yes, so asana is a good tool for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Superb. And I think, Deepa, if we look at asanas, I mean, I love the way you put it. Most of us would believe that an asana practice is, as I said in the beginning of this session, it would be going
Yeah,
for a yoga class, being on the mat, doing the posture just like what a teacher tells you. But tell me,
yeah.
Deepa, can we really carry these poses, these postures beyond the mat? And how can we carry those postures beyond the mat? Like, what would that, how would that be? What is the philosophy of asana, of carrying these postures beyond your mat?
Wow, that's a very deep question, and I will just try and answer it in as simple way as possible.
Sure.
I think, Ash, what happens is, to answer your first question, was the reason why people don't go into the deeper aspects of yoga philosophy is because there is no time.
Hmm.
Most of the times, yoga practice, a yoga class is in a fitness studio, for example, a yoga
Yeah.
class is there alongside Zumba, Pilates,
Yes.
and all of that. And
Or
even in
even a
a regular yoga
gymnasium.
studio, or even a gymnasium, or even in a regular yoga studio, most of the times it's very back to back, because it's also a commercial enterprise, right?
Yeah.
So there is very limited time to go into deeper aspects of yoga. And now, since people are very appearance oriented, so the focus has shifted to asana, anatomy, and alignment, and all of that, which is also good. It's also an important aspect. But unfortunately, because of that, the other deeper aspects have been sort of sidelined. So I think it's very important to remember that the I wouldn't say the main philosophy, but one of the key aspects of yoga philosophy is that we are not this body, we are not the mind, we are not our senses. We are actually the witnesser of all the experiences that this system is going through. That is, you can call it pure consciousness, Brahman, or
Yeah.
Atman, and you have so many different labels in Vedanta and in different systems of thought. But essentially, we are the witnesser of what's happening to the body mind system, not the body mind system itself.
Hmm.
But it's a very deep concept. It's a very deep philosophy, and it's hard to relate to, because all you can relate to is the body, because you can
Yes.
see it. All you can
Yes.
relate to is your emotions, because you can see it in your mind, you can
In
feel
the
it,
mind. Yeah.
exactly. So so keeping this philosophy in mind, the rishis and the yogis always stated that your body is like a house for that witness, for that consciousness. Your
Hmm.
body is like a temple that houses the deity of your consciousness.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
if you're housing a deity of you, or if you're housing a witnesser, which is divine in nature, or whatever, you can call it in very romantic terms, or you can call it in very simple terms like a witnesser. That this temple or this space needs to be taken care of. It needs to be respected. It needs to
Yes.
be worshipped in a realistic way. Because without this, we can't. This is the only vehicle we have in our journey of
In
life.
our physical world.
So
Yes. Absolutely.
so this is the philosophy, and I think this is how we also treat it outside of the mat, also giving body the due respect by treating it right, by eating right, by the right kind of thoughts, by trying to inculcate values that will go a long way in helping us achieve our objectives in life, rather than getting carried away by what's happening around us. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Wow.
Anyway, it's a very deep,
Yes, and we already,
there's a lot to discuss
yes,
on that.
and we spoke a bit, of course, when in our initial episodes when we spoke about yamas niyamas. I think we can connect that to this concept what you just spoke about, treating your body as a sacred
Absolutely.
temple, and I think, yeah, that very much explains us what it is to, the philosophy of asanas as such. Deepa, now one more thing which always comes to my mind is, um, how can how can asana, or how can a posture improve your overall health and well-being, and how do you think it is important from that perspective, because we just spoke about your body as a temple. So yes, I'm definitely aware that asanas have a role in your your well-being, not just physically but also emotionally. So could you throw a little more light on that, as from an overall health perspective, how do asanas benefit us?
Yeah, that's a great question also, Ash, because all the big yogis have talked about yoga from bhakti perspective, from
Yes.
jnana perspective, and okay, asana will make your body strong, will make you, fit, etc. All
Yeah.
of that has been talked about. But the role of asana in overall health um, is discussed, but not as much maybe. But personally, I feel more than actual physical fitness, the
Yeah.
asanas really, I think they influence your deeper organs, and they
Hmm.
influence your subtle energy centers. So they influence
Chakras.
the
Yeah.
nadis, they influence the chakras, the internal organs. So just to give you an example, if you look at a posture like Sarvangasana, the shoulder stand, the
Yes.
inversion, it's a very intricate posture. The shoulder stand makes you do a chin lock, a
Hmm.
Jalandhar Bandha,
Hmm.
which actually stimulates the vagus nerve, which is there, from the brainstem, it goes all the way to your colon. So it
Hmm.
stimulates the vagus nerve, which only recently now that scientists are talking about how important the vagus nerve is. But the rishis and the yogis knew it long ago. That's the reason
Thousands of years
why
ago.
postures like were designed. So one is the vagus nerve stimulation. The other is it calms down our nervous system. It stimulates the thyroid region, and there are so many other benefits: the anti-gravity, reversal of the blood flow. I mean, we can keep on talking. So just one example of asana, you can see how deeply they were thought of, how intricately they were designed. Not just looking at physical benefits, but uh, you know, emotional, mental, psychological, psycho-spiritual, all levels of
Absolutely.
benefit.
Because
Um,
Deepa, in
yes.
energy healing, when we talk about the chakras or the subtle
Hmm.
energy centers in body, um, to balance sometimes, because the entire approach of energy healing is towards balancing your chakras. So in energy healing, we say
Absolutely.
that if there is a blockage in a particular chakra, on a physical body front, it manifests as a disease. And the way to cure that disease from the root is to make sure that the chakra is balanced. And
Yes.
I see a lot of connection with what you just spoke, because when we talk about, you gave the example of the shoulder stand, and you spoke about the thyroid. In Reiki or in energy healing, we often talk about the Vishuddhi chakra, which is the center at your throat.
Yes.
And we say that if
Absolutely.
your throat center is blocked, that
Yes.
is one of the, so when you are helping someone to heal with thyroid, we help them to clear the throat chakra. So imagine if
That's
this knowledge,
beautiful.
if all of this comes together, and along with the energy healing, the medical treatment, whatever they are taking for the physical body, along with that, if they also do yoga, how beautifully it will not just cure, but it
I
will make the
know.
person's life so much better.
Ash, that is so beautifully said, and I could not agree more. I want to add one more thing to what you just said, about how the body can heal,
Yes.
by by focusing on the deeper aspects of nadis and chakras. My teacher, Swami Govindananda, always says that every asana is like an energy matrix.
Hmm.
Every posture is an energetic matrix.
Matrix.
If done correctly, it's a certain geometric alignment uh,
Hmm.
through which will help energy flow in a certain way,
Wow.
which will open up the nadis, which will open up the flow of energy in your body.
Beautiful.
And that is why it's important that the asanas are done correctly.
In
And the
the
breath
Yes.
is, there is a focus on the breath. There is a certain drishti that you maintain,
Wow.
certain awareness you maintain. So absolutely, as you rightly said, that asanas are actually so deep and so complex. There's so many layers to asana that I hope that medical professionals begin to see how
Yes.
important it is to include that as part of
Yes. Yes.
healing. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
it
Yes.
is happening. I had an orthopedic surgeon in my first CTC course
Hmm.
who uses yoga as well as his regular allopathic.
Yes, yes,
treatment will deal with his
yes.
patients. And
And I also know so many mainstream doctors who are learning, who have learned Reiki, and who are
yes,
using, and we call it as integrated medicine, which means you use the aspects of the, if you are a doctor, if you are an MBBS doctor or an MD doctor, you use the physical body knowledge which you have along with the subtle body knowledge which you have, and they can cure their patients faster. And I think
yes,
integrated medicine will be the future of this world, because that will help people stay on the
beautiful,
path of healing. So very beautifully said. And
absolutely.
I'm so happy to understand that people have started looking at health and well-being from a larger perspective,
A holistic perspective,
holistic perspective.
absolutely.
Wow.
Great, Ash. And thank you for throwing light on the aspect of integrative medicine. I think it's crucial.
It's
And I think
crucial.
this is the way forward. It's the
Yes.
way forward.
And Deepa, you also mentioned about that there are a certain number of postures which
Ah,
yes,
yes.
because we were
Yes.
discussing that day, and I really was noting it down, because it was a very interesting thing. So totally, there are a certain number of postures. Is it
84. We have,
84?
so 80, apparently there are a lot more, but 80, symbolically 84 fixed asanas are there.
Wow,
In the system of the 84 systems of asanas are there in the practice of yoga.
wow,
And yeah, so they are all listed out, and they're all amazing. They're all like, named after rishis, named
yes,
after animals.
yes. There is
Very
Garudasan and there is Mandukasan, and like when you talk about that,
Vasishthasana,
Vashishthasana.
Ardhamastendrasana,
Yes,
and all of
yes,
that.
yes.
Yes.
So they're named after animals, they're named after rishis, they are and it made me just think, because you mentioned the number 84, and being an energy healing practitioner, I always think in terms of chakras, and I was thinking, okay, 7 chakras, 84 postures, does it mean 12 per chakra, or because there are also 12 seasons of year? So,
Wow.
I was just trying to connect the dots, and it was a very interesting,
Amazing.
yeah,
You never know, I mean, the intricacy with which they thought,
yeah,
and so they have it's so nuanced. That it's possible that they had the all the chakras in mind when they designed the postures, and it is right, because
wow,
like Shirshasana is for the hair, for activating the
Sahasrara,
crown chakra. Shoulder stand is for
or
activating the throat
Vishuddhi, yeah.
chakra. And we have so many other postures that stimulate different parts of the body. So possible that it is 84 and 12,
Wow.
that connection is definitely there,
Maybe I
Who
should
knows?
read more. Yeah, maybe like there is so much to read,
I need to
Deepa.
read more also.
Yeah, so do I,
I
because
know.
there is
Tell me
so
about
much.
it.
I always feel that, I always use this concept. I always feel that the more I study, the more I need to study. And, when you feel
Oh,
you know a lot, you
so
always
true.
meet someone who knows more than you. And I'm actually feeling that, because I have been reading so much about all of this. And when I met you and when we began this series, I know that, oh my God, there is so much which I can learn from Deepa, and there is so much more which I have to
Likewise.
read. So it's
There's
such
so
a
much more.
beautiful,
I need to know about energy healing. Yes.
wow. So it's such a beautiful
No.
way to exchange knowledge, to know more. And I think in today's session, I've taken points as usual, to read more. So I always keep a paper pen at hand. So I've written down the points where I might need more to read. But I think overall, you made asanas so simple for all our viewers, and I'm sure the next time all our viewers, when they go on the mat and they begin their practice of asanas, there is so much more value which you have added to them. So thank you for putting it so, making these things so simple. As
My
always,
pleasure.
I'm happy to have you, and we will keep this
Like
series continuing with the next limb, which is pranayam, which will be in the
pranayama.
next section of the Awaken to Yoga series. So all of you who are watching us, we have Deepa Bhatt, who is a certified yoga instructor from the Sivananda lineage of yoga, and she's a dear friend, and it's been amazing to have these talks progress right from the beginning. We have more videos coming up. I hope you are liking them. So to follow Deepa and to know more about her, you can follow her Instagram handle, which is Deepa. If you are watching us on Instagram, you know we are on Instagram as unicorn underscore insight. And of course, we are on Facebook as you have my official page, Ashwini Chuve. And if you are watching us right now on our YouTube channel, um, which which makes it possible for you to share, subscribe, and like to everyone you know, so that we can share this ancient, divine, beautiful knowledge in a much more contemporary way, giving more practical examples. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we will catch up with you all once again next week with the next link. Thanking Deepa on behalf of all of you, on behalf of us at Unicorn Insight. And this talk will go on even in the next week. Namaste, loads of love, light, and blessings to all of you. Thank you, Deepa.
Thanks, Ash.